So hi everyone, I'm Jessica with Dave and Nathan, and here is our weekly roundup of news and things that have interested us. And I'm going to start with some CreateFuture news. Just a little update really. So we've been working away. We just finished our 4th design sprint for a financial services organisation, which is going really well. The client said they didn't want us to leave, so that was good. And we ran our first partners event in Edinburgh, so our first Scottish partners event. So it was amazing. So it was last night, and just brilliant to bring people we trust together, people that are amazing at what they do. Some brilliant people in Scotland. To host our first event.
Yeah,
so it was really good.
Thanks everyone for you came out. Really good.
Yeah,
really enjoyed it. What took my eye this week was healthcare. Obviously, as you know, I look after myself.
Body's a temple.
Yeah, absolutely. Since the new iOS update come up, I've been playing around with. They have the ability to say, you should be getting 8 hours sleep, and it will remind you when to go to bed. Essentially, it's becoming your mum. And they're taking this a little bit further. So Apple have hired a doctor called Mike Evans, and he's going to be getting involved in their digital healthcare, what the future is. The interesting thing I thought in the news article was he was interviewed on American TV, and he said that the challenge he sees is that you see your doctor 2 to 3 times a year, but the phone that's in your pocket is with you every day, and therefore can be gathering feedback. And the key thing for him is nudges, so a little bit like this. So if you've got high blood pressure, it's giving you nudges to do stuff, whether it's taking in information or not. I think that's kitty cat. I think it's really interesting because it's not just health that this plays into, it plays into financial services. And you can think of lots of different sectors where actually things like your financial health, mental health, etc. could all be, we could be moving into
guided
with nudges.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting.
I signed up for Babylon a couple of years back, after maybe 18 months I think, after hearing of them. It's basically a GP over.
It's really clever.
Yeah, it's and I've used it a few times. That for me is great to have that on demand.
That's the video.
To have access to a kind of qualified GP within minutes. 15 minutes, and they send prescriptions to your door. Where it fell down a little bit for me was that the proactive stuff. Of kind of the daily encouraging change, but it's all going to come together, no doubt.
Nice.
I was all set to talk about the launch of Google Data Center, Google Data Studio, which has been available in the US, but only available in the UK recently. But then Elon Musk announced his vision to take the humanity to Mars and set up sustainable colonies there. It's kind of bigger news.
Small bit of news.
Yeah. So SpaceX, obviously, a significant player in space travel, and Elon Musk at the International Astronautical Congress in Albuquerque this week stood up and outlined his vision, where we have yet to send one person to Mars. He's kind of planning to send 100 people and thousands of tons of cargo to Mars at a time. To do so, he has to basically change the entire economic model for space travel.
Of course.
What would a grand vision be without having to do that? Essentially taking something which costs $10 million and making it affordable within the reach of kind of ordinary people. If you want to get 1 million people to Mars, which is his vision. Another blog made the nice analogy that it's like looking at a Honda for £20,000 and thinking, how can I make that for £1? Wow. So he's got those kind of challenge, and he's set out realistic vision for doing that with huge huge rockets, huge reusable rockets, and the technology and outline the technology that's going to sit behind those. I could go on about this for hours, and I might do in another post.
Do you think he'll do it?
Yeah, I do. I think so. It's you've got to admire someone. You have to treat it credibly when you look at everything that's been done to date. In terms of all of the profits and the research from taking cargo, launching satellites, resupplying the ISS is all basically done to raise capital and knowledge to fund this vision. He can't do it alone. He will bring together a consortium, but it's certainly that vision is encompassing it. It is not just the technology; it's the politics, it's the sociology and the economics behind getting there. And it's clearly one person who's got realised he's got 40-50 years on Earth and wants to make a difference with it.
I think it's interesting. It's a little the space race was a little bit like a war, in that it took something like that to drive out just tons of innovation. You know, war's a terrible thing, but you list the amount of good things that came from the technology that was originally started for war. And the same with the space race, you know, it drove humanity forward. So it's not actually getting to Mars is one part of it, but the stuff that's going to be built along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And why he wants, and the other analogy, why he wants 1 million people there is so that it's sustainable if the rockets stop coming. You know, so he's thinking it's, you know, if our kind of civilization loses the ability to do things like this, or there's a, you know, natural disaster, we have a backup plan.
Is Matt Damon going?
Yeah, I would say he's going to be on the first rocket, to be honest. So I'd hopefully be on one of the early ones as well. Thanks for your time. I think that's
thank you.
That's for us.
We're starting to get pretty good on social now, so follow us on CreateFuture UK. As our Twitter handle. That's and right. Yes, as always, subscribe, give comments, trying our best to get better. So thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.